Hawkins High School, the pride of both races.
The intent was to keep the races separate, but somewhat more equal. In African American communities, the state began building new schools, increasing the pay of black teachers, and providing better supplies and equipment. But in 1954, in the Brown versus Board of Education decision, the Supreme Court declared separate public schools for blacks and whites unconstitutional.
To separate them from others of similar age and qualifications solely because of their race generates a feeling of inferiority unlikely ever to be undone.
I shall never forget my teacher told the students in her class, I want you all to remember this date forever.
Colored-only signs wounded the ego. The back of the bus was humiliating. But substandard schools hit African Americans in their most tender spot, hope for their children.
Personally, I felt that there should be integration because there was no such thing as separate but equal. You have to integrate or you're going to forever be behind.
But not all blacks in Mississippi supported the Brown decision. Parents feared for their children's safety. Principals and teachers feared losing their jobs.
We wanted good schools and good principals and good facilities. We were not pushing so much for integration to begin with.
A year after the Brown decision, the Supreme Court ordered that school desegregation should proceed with all deliberate speed. For segregationists, this wording opened the door to delay integration for another 15 years.
Supreme Court or no Supreme Court, we are going to maintain segregated schools down in Dixie.
Mississippi's citizens' councils led the Great Crusade to resist the Brown decision. A white supremacist organization, the Citizens Council, was composed of doctors, lawyers, businessmen, and farmers. By 1956, the council had expanded to every corner of the state. The major battlefield was the schools, but the resistance went much deeper. By 1956, blacks who signed a petition, spoke out for integration, or who registered to vote faced the wrath of the citizens' councils. Businesses were boycotted. Credit dried up. Drive-by shootings riddled stores and homes. There's open season on Negroes now, one man said. Other states had citizens' councils, but in 1956, Mississippi alone had its own spy agency, the Sovereignty Commission. The commission began compiling files on 87,000 people suspected of supporting integration. Come on, Stu,
We
get over.
have done very resistance to preserve racial segregation.
Mississippi schools remained defiantly segregated into the 1960s. In 1967, just 3% of Mississippi students attended integrated schools. Meanwhile, private schools, nicknamed Seg Academies, opened throughout the state, enrolling thousands of white students. 15 years after the Brown decision, Mississippi still resisted desegregation. But in 1969, the Supreme Court intervened once again, saying the state could no longer delay. Mississippi schools began to integrate. In Mississippi and across the nation, many communities still struggle with the issue of school integration. But the Brown decision was groundbreaking. It was a catalyst for the civil rights movement. It inspired education reform, and it challenged discrimination across America.